Hello, everyone. My name is Madison Helton. I am a senior at Meredith, graduating in December of 2024, and I'll be presenting my research, Unlocking AI's Potential in Bankruptcy Forecasting, examining AI's efficacy with Altman Z-score model with publicly traded manufacturing companies located in the United States with annual revenues under $500 million prior to 2020. So let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the background of my research, including an explanation of AI, the importance, as well as the method I used to do my research, what I found so far, and what I plan to continue doing with this study. So why AI? I wanted to look at AI because it is becoming increasingly popular throughout all areas of business and accounting. And I specifically wanted to look at generative AI because that's something that a lot of people are familiar with due to ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT 4.0, the data analyst tool, because I wanted to use the most up-to-date version available, as well as I wanted to look at the data analyst tool. Now, ChatGPT 4.0 is a little bit different than ChatGPT 3.5, which is what a lot of people are familiar with. ChatGPT 3.5 is the free version available through OpenAI, and it can use information from the internet up until about 2020 or 2021, but it cannot give you any current information. ChatGPT 4.0 can go through the internet and give you the most up-to-date information as possible. Now, there's also been a rise in AI throughout many different accounting functions, specifically within audit and audit reports, decision-making, and data analytics, which is what I was interested in studying in. But with this rise comes a lot of concern about the future of AI and it possibly taking over jobs, the reliability of AI, with it giving outdated or biased information, as well as the security of AI. If you were to input confidential information into AI, it could possibly send out that confidential information to somebody else because it learns from itself. Since AI is the future of technology, I wanted to see if the future of technology could predict the future of companies. Now, when you're working with AI, you do have to give it a prompt. And this is an example of a prompt that I use throughout my research. And I specifically asked AI to calculate Altman's Z-score and only provide one sentence and to not explain how to get the Z-score. When you give AI just a prompt to say, use Altman's Z-score, it's going to give you a long list of the history of Altman's Z-score, how it found its information, the history of the company, the history of the ratios used in Altman's Z-score, and I didn't want any of that information. I just wanted it to look through the 10K form and give me the one Z-score at the end of it. And if you also look at the end of the answer from data analyst, this little blue box right here, that is actually where AI got the information from. So that little box will tell you what numbers it used to calculate that Z-score. So why is this information important? This information is important because it can help determine the current abilities of AI. By using the most up-to-date ChatGPT I could use, I am helping determine what AI can currently do. I also wanted to help dissuade any fear over the future of AI. A lot of people are very scared of AI, and I wanted to help dissuade any fear that people may have. And this also fills a gap in the current literature in AI and finance and accounting, because since AI is such a new technology, there is not a lot of academic research that's been done on it. And there's also not been a lot done with finance and accounting because it's used specifically with audit reports, and a lot of information has been used with that, but not a lot's been used with bankruptcy prediction. Now, why do I have this super long title for my research? I wanted to look at publicly traded companies because their information is widely available through the SEC's database called EDGAR. I also wanted to look at manufacturing companies because Altman's Z-score specifically looks at manufacturing companies that are publicly traded. And I wanted to see ones that were headquartered in the United States because I knew that information would be most easily available through the SEC's database. I also wanted to focus on smaller manufacturing companies, and I wanted to look at current information, so no later than 2016, but I also wanted to exclude the COVID-19 pandemic, which caused a lot of companies to go bankrupt. So what was my hypothesis? My hypothesis was that AI was not successful in determining bankruptcy within my research parameters. So this means that I did not think that AI was going to be successful, and my alternative hypothesis is that AI is successful. So my alternative hypothesis is the opposite of my actual hypothesis. So what is Altman's Z-score? Helton Z-score takes these 5 financial ratios of liquidity, profitability, operating efficiency, leverage, and asset turnover, and turns it in and assigns them a weight, and the resulting Z-score is then placed into one of 3 zones: the distress zone, which has a higher likelihood of going bankrupt, the gray zone, and the safe zone. If it is above 3, it's in the safe zone. If it's below 1.8, it's in the distress zone. The sample that I used 16 bankrupt manufacturing firms because a lot of research on Altman's Z-score uses around 16 to 20 different companies. So I want focused on 16. Also, these companies went bankrupt between 2016 and 2019 to keep my information current, while also excluding the COVID-19 pandemic. And I also looked at specifically 2 and 3 years before bankruptcy, because a lot of companies, the year before they went bankrupt, there was no 10K filing available, or there was no annual revenues, which made it impossible for me to calculate my financial ratios. So, for example, if a company had gone bankrupt in 2016, there would be no 10K filing available in 2015. So I would have to look at 2014 and 2013. This didn't happen with all of my data, but it happened with a large amount, and I just decided to completely not use the year before they went bankrupt. I also only analyzed data needed for Altman's Z-score. Since AI can look up through the entire internet and find many different news articles and other information, I wanted AI to just be able to look through a 10K filing and tell me if a company is going bankrupt with Altman's Z-score or not. So to build this analysis, I manually went through and gathered the information, the data needed from my 10K filing, and I created Altman's Z-score with a formula in Excel. I input the data into Excel, and the formula calculated it and determined the Z-score, and then another formula determined what zone to put the company in based off of that Z-score. I then uploaded the 10K into the data analyst tool, and I ran ChatGPT with a very consistent prompt. So every single time I ran an analysis, I used the exact same prompt. And I then uploaded the resulting Z-score into the Excel document and used the same formula to determine the zone. And then I looked at the zones that AI and human created. So I discovered that 25 out of 32 of the zone calculations actually matched, which is about a 72% accuracy rate. So if you look at the chart over here, we can see that there's 25 that were where the analysis matched, and there were 7 where they don't match. When looking specifically at the Z-scores, we can see that it was actually not statistically significant of a difference between the human Z-score and the AI Z-score, which I found very interesting. I also wanted to look specifically at the number of bankrupted firms that AI got different from human and how many of them were in each category. So for this graph, if they did not match and the human put a company in distress, AI thought that 1 company was in gray and 3 companies were unsafe. If they did not match and the human thought it was in gray, it thought 1 company was in distress. If the human thought that it was safe and they did not match, 2 of them were in distress. And as we can see here, when it matched, 20 of them were in distress because these are companies that have gone bankrupt. Another thing that was interesting is when looking at the total number of companies that the human calculated and the AI calculated, they actually come up with the same or very similar numbers, very close numbers of companies in each of the categories. So in total, the human calculation found 24 companies in distress and AI found 23. They both found 3 that were companies that were in the gray zone, and the human found 5 companies that were safe, and the AI found 6 companies that were safe. To continue the study, I'm interested to look at bankrupted versus healthy firms. So I want to see if I still get that 72% accuracy rate when I upload firms into 10K filings of firms into AI and see if I still get that same rate. I also want to see if the whole 10K form makes a difference versus only giving AI the financial information. So a 10K filing is going to have upwards of 100 pages long versus the financial information is going to be a lot shorter, typically around 5 pages long. So I want to see if giving it less information is going to have it give a more accurate z-score and a more accurate and a z-score that matches or comes very close to the human z-score. And also in the future, I would love to publish, once I've completed my research, I would love to publish it in one of the following journals. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is right on the front, and I hope you have enjoyed my presentation today. Thank you.